Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Nice to see you,
Prabhuji.
Tukaram. Everything okay?
Amrit Prabhu will not be joining as of now. He's taking ISKCON Disciple course. The session is being recorded, so he'll be watching it later.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Prabhuji. We'll go ahead and start then. Gora Draganya Gana Go to Goloruharam Goranga Gudatama Gopyara Kopa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavaram Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachi Hadile Kakola Kahe Premananda Hemona Goranga Hridoya Dariya Bola Bhaja Goranga Kaha Goranga Laha Gorangera Namare Jai Jana Goranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Pranare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Yashaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Bidana Parama Pumata Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavyarapi Gopala Svikriyat Kripaya Jari Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitva Rishayustat Priya Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunath Apta Brajabala Bapahimam Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So good afternoon, dear devotees. I hope everybody's okay. So I don't know, Tukaram, this is our fourth session in this series.
Hare Yes, Prabhuji. Fifth
Number
session.
Okay.
So it's fourth or fifth?
Pro sixth session.
I'm sorry?
Sixth
Six.
session. It is our sixth session.
Really? We're having fun. It's going by quick. Okay, so today I wanted to say something about different types of disciples. It's a very strong topic. First of all, let me read you a little something from
Some noise is coming from, is it from your end or someone?
Everything's quiet here. I think it's me. Just the fan. So I'd like to read you something from a purport Srila Prabhupada wrote. This is the Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 32, Text 40. Prabhupada says, there are so-called disciples who become submissive to a spiritual master most artificially, with an ulterior motive. They also cannot understand what Krishna consciousness or devotional service is. So there's different types of disciples. There's a Guru Sevak, someone who wants to serve Guru. There's a Guru Bhogi, or someone who wants to try to enjoy Guru. There's a Guru Tyagi, who's not a disciple at all, but someone who rejects Guru. And we'll go on to discuss in this session a number of other disciples based on some things that Thakur Bhaktivinoda has written in an article from Sajjana Toshini. So Guru Maharaj, he spoke about two different attitudes of devotees towards serving and worshipping Guru. And he said, there are two stages, Anartha Yukta Vasta and Anartha Mukta Vasta, covered with anarthas and free from anarthas. In the stage where one is covered with anarthas, he cannot see the real swarup of the Guru. One who is covered with anarthas sees Guru as Bhoga Datta, thinking, if I take shelter of Guru, I will get so much enjoyment. That is Bhogya Darshan, and is the vision most of us have. Guru Dev will give me all sorts of enjoyment, nice prasad, a nice place to stay, nice vehicles, everything nice. On the stage of Anartha Mukta Vasta, in which one is completely free from anarthas, his Guru Darshan is different. He sees that the Guru is to be served. I will give him all sorts of pleasure through my service. I will never expect anything from my own pleasure. So one example that we have in this regard, interesting example, is that of Ekalavya. Now, many devotees, many people in India, they think that Ekalavya is the ideal disciple in Mahabharata, that when he was asked, he cut off his thumb. But Srila Bhakti-Charu Maharaj, some years ago, he translated from a book of essays which were entitled Upakyani Upadesh, their Bengali book, Instructions and Stories, in which Srila Bhaktisiddhanta gave some commentary on the story of Ekalavya. So he commented that many people, they think that Ekalavya's devotion to Guru is ideal. But then the question comes, what was Ekalavya's fault? He says that Ekalavya was wearing the mask of Guru Bhakti, devotion to Guru. But Ekalavya actually revolted against his Guru. And whether it was that his Guru was considering him to be disqualified because of his birth in a low-class family, or as we discussed in our last session, he was just testing him. For whatever reason, Dronacharya refused to teach Ekalavya the art of Dhanurveda. It was Ekalavya's duty, as a disciple, he should just accept what his Guru says. But Ekalavya didn't like that. Ekalavya wanted to become very great and famous. So, without a Guru, he's not going to be considered bona fide. Or maybe because it's not going to be possible for him to become great without having a Guru. And so for these reasons, Ekalavya decided to make a deity out of Dronacharya, out of clay. And it's an interesting thing. Historically speaking, even fairly recently, to say something a little controversial, but it's just frank history. When I started first went to the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan in 1993, there were no deities there, except for the deities of Radha Damodar and Madan Mohan and deities of a few different Goswamis. But there was no deities of the 6 Goswamis. But today you go there and you have deities of all the 6 Goswamis. When I first started going to those temples in Vrindavan, I remember going to one temple where they had no temples that they have pictures even of the Guru on the altar, as we do in ISKCON. But they would have sometimes a separate even small building or separate shrine where they would keep their Gurudev's pictures. Now why is that? Because there's 2 manifestations of Guru. This is spoken about by Srila Jiva Goswami in his Bhakti Sandarbha. There's Samasti Guru and Vyasti Guru. Samasti Guru means the sum total of all Gurus. That's Krishna. And he's like the sun. And Vyasti Guru is like a kiran, or a ray of light from the sun. On a cold winter day, when the sunshine is shining through our window, we're very happy. We say, oh, the sun is coming into my room. But the sun's not coming in my room. If the sun planet were to enter into my room, it wouldn't be very much fun. I would be burned to ashes, and my building would be burned to ashes, isn't it? The whole planet would be burned to ashes. But some kiran, some rays are coming in. So Guru means Krishna, and some particular ray of him manifests in different ways. And one person's guru is not necessarily another person's guru. And that's something which is very, very important to understand. I want to speak later on about an instruction from the Samohan Tantra, in which is quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas, where Sanatana Goswami says that Gopayat Guru Matmana, we should hide our guru. And what does that mean? What does it mean to hide the guru? So at that time in Vrindavan, because everyone understood that Krishna is Samasti Guru, and the Vyasti Guru, the individual gurus, are different. Some people, they're in the line of Ramanuja, some people, they're in the line of Madhvacharya. They're in different lines. So everybody has different Vyasti Gurus, but everyone has the same Samasti Guru, Krishna. So we can go to the temple and Krishna's there for everyone. And that was the system in those days in Vrindavan. Now things have changed, and it's become kind of a habit that we have. It's something you have to have, the deity of the guru in every temple, and that's just the situation. I'm not going to say that it's good or it's bad necessarily, but it's not traditional. And we see that Ekalavya, his mood was that he wanted to make a deity of his guru, so that he could have his guru there, and perhaps so that he could advertise his guru bhakti. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says that his main intention of Ekalavya to learn Dhanurveda was to become great. He wasn't interested in serving his guru. So Ekalavya, we know that he served Dronacharya. He served that deity of Dronacharya so well, and one day Dronacharya was in the forest with the Pandavas, and Dronacharya had promised to Arjun that you'll be the greatest archer in the world. And as they were walking one day, they heard the sound of a dog barking, and this dog had seen Ekalavya and started barking at him. And so then Ekalavya, in just 1 second, he took his arrows and he shot the arrows in such a way that it made like a cage around the mouth of the dog, so the dog couldn't bark. And then the Pandavas, they saw that dog like that, and Arjun was very amazed. Who did like this? This is something I can't do. And so then they went to find that archer, and they found this Nishad person, this tribal person. And when he saw Dronacharya, he bowed down to him, and they asked him, "What's your name?" And he gave his name, and then they asked him, "Who is your guru?" And he said, "Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, you're my guru, Dronacharya." So Dronacharya could see the desire to become famous in the heart of Ekalavya. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says that in the core of Ekalavya's heart, he wanted to become better than the best of the Vaishnavas, Arjun. So when Dronacharya heard that, Arjun looked at him like, "Guru Maharaj, what's going on? You promised I would be the best of archers." And understanding Arjun's mood, Dronacharya told Ekalavya, "Well, if you're my disciple, you should give some Guru Dakshina. You should give me some bakshish." And Ekalavya said, "Yes, Guru Maharaj, what do you want?" And then Dronacharya said, "I want your right thumb," which for archer, right thumb is the most important digit of the hand. So Ekalavya didn't even hesitate. He took a sharp arrow and he cut off his thumb, and he placed that bleeding thumb at the feet of Dronacharya. And due to that sacrifice, many Hindus today in India, they think of Ekalavya as the greatest disciple. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said that's a misconception. That Ekalavya, he was a mundane person. He wasn't really surrendered to his guru. Just like sometimes people today, they also want to make a deity of Srila Prabhupada and advertise himself as a devotee of Srila Prabhupada without meeting Srila Prabhupada, without going through the tests of Srila Prabhupada that we spoke about in our last session. And that's a kind of cheating. And so to teach the world this principle, Krishna enacted this pastime with Ekalavya. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta explains that by some mundane consideration, it seems like Ekalavya was a good person. But Ekalavya wanted to get this skill of learning from Dronacharya, but he didn't want to bother to surrender to Dronacharya. He approached Dronacharya, and Dronacharya rejected him. No, I won't accept you. So he wouldn't accept that instruction from him. So Arjuna, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, saw this is a kind of atheism or impersonalism. And that's why Arjuna, he wasn't envious of Ekalavya. Actually, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says it was his mercy on Ekalavya and on his mercy on the whole world that he requested Dronacharya, you have him cut off his thumb. Moreover, in the Mahabharata, we find that Ekalavya finally was killed by Krishna. So if Ekalavya was such a great devotee, then why would Krishna kill him? You can't judge someone by how great a devotee they are just by the austerities that they perform. Because the demons also perform austerities. Demigods perform austerities just like the demons perform austerities. But Ekalavya, he wanted to become greater than this greatest Vaishnava Arjuna, against the desire of his guru. And that's why he was killed by Krishna, and that's why he attained impersonal liberation. The demons are killed by Krishna, the devotees are protected by him. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says that Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad, they're the proof. Therefore, we should never try to become greater than the Vaishnava and wear a mask of Guru Bhakti and become impersonalists. So this is something that we learn from the example of Guru Bhakti, of Ekalavya, that just becoming expert in doing some external activities is not a symptom of Guru Bhakti. Rather, Bhakti means to be subordinate and submissive to the Lord's loving service, the Vaishnavas. So if we study this subject matter, if we consider it carefully, there's a book that I've been working on, kind of in the background for some years now. We wanted to call it Vivida Sishya Charit, or the characteristics and types of different disciples. And our discussion today is an important part of that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes two broad categories of disciples, the Bahirmukh Sishyas and the Antarmukh Sishyas. And as we were reading from our Guru Maharaj, there's two types of darshan devotees have. One is Anartha Yuktavasta, someone who has anarthas in their heart, and they have Bhogya darshan of Gurudev. They think that Gurudev is meant to be enjoyed. Whereas the Antarmukh, or internal disciples, they're Anartha Muktavasta. They're free from anarthas to a greater or lesser extent. At least their motivation in behaving is not controlled by anarthas. And their darshan of Gurudev is Sevya darshan. They see that Gurudev is meant to be served. So, as we were discussing earlier in another session, Srila Prabhupada said these two things come from the same place. Putra and Mutra. A son and urine. So, just because someone has initiation from Guru doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bona fide disciple. And therefore Srila Prabhupada says in this purport that we started reading, there are so-called disciples. Some persons who are not really disciples, who become submissive to a spiritual master artificially with an ulterior motive. They cannot understand what Krishna consciousness or devotional service is. So as we spoke in our last session about vanchana and kripa, two different things that sadhu has, mercy and cheating. That person looks like they've gotten mercy, they're initiated, but they've only gotten vanchana. So these are two broad categories of disciples, the Bahirmukh Sishyas and the Antarmukh Sishyas. And amongst the Antarmukh Sishyas, there's three categories, the Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. And the Kanishta Sishya doesn't know very much Shastra, but he has a good qualification that he has faith in Gurudev. He has a bad qualification that he doesn't have so much stress on the other Vaishnavas. But because of his faith in Gurudev, then he gives respect to the Vaishnavas. And because he has some anarthas in his heart, he's a Kanishta. He doesn't know Shastra. His Shraddha, his faith is Komala Shraddha. it's a little weak because he doesn't know so much Shastra. He can't give such good arguments. Better than him is the Madhyam Antarmukh Sishya, and that Madhyam Sishya is someone who knows some Shastra, but they don't really know the heart of Guru Maharaj so much. But still, they're much better than the Kanishta Sishya. And then the best is the Uttam Sishya. That Uttam Sishya knows Shastra. He may choose to quote Shastra, he may not choose to quote Shastra. Just like Gorkashodas Babaji mostly chose not to quote Shastra, and he went and did his bhajan instead. But that Uttam Sishya, his qualification is that he always sees Krishna, and that he knows the heart of Guru, and that Guru has entered into his heart. He's performing Vishrambena Guru Seva. He's considered to be non-different from Gurudev. And maybe we'll speak more about him. We'll see how it goes today. We may have another session in this types of disciples. So just as there's three types of internal Antarmukh Sishyas, there's also three types of Bahirmukh Sishyas. And these are the Sneha Silita, the Guru Giri, and the Vishayi. The Sneha Silita is that disciple who wants to get some sneha, or some affection from Gurudev. And Silita, he's practicing or cultivating being a disciple, or trying to cultivate this affection because he thinks that this is the purpose of Gurudev. He's a Bahirmukh Sishya, he's an Artha Yukta Vasta, he has Bhogya Darshan of Gurudev. And he thinks Gurudev is very good because Gurudev pays attention to me. And Gurudev spoke about me in class. And Gurudev let me ride in the car with him. And Gurudev patted me on the head. And Gurudev praised me. So such a disciple, the Sneha Silita, who has this darshan, this vision which is covered by anarthas, he sees that Gurudev is there for his pleasure. Then there's the Guru Giri. The Guru Giri is someone who makes a business out of Gurudev. And he wants to make sure that everyone knows he's a disciple of XYZ Maharaj, and my Gurudev, he's a very, very great guru. Sometimes the Guru Giri Sishyas, they wear t-shirts or badges of their Gurudev, and they want to advertise them everywhere. They're doing the opposite of Gopayad Guru Matmana, of hiding the Guru. We'll speak more about that in a later session, but Gopayad Guru Matmana doesn't mean that we deny our Guru. It just means that we don't advertise our relationship with him. I find that one big difference living in India, amongst the people here in India, a big difference here, and the people that I know in America or in Europe, is that people in India, high-class people, they'll never speak about their intimate dealings with their wife or their husband. That's something very, very private. Maybe they have some quarrel with a wife or something. They don't talk about that. But in America, oh my God, people write about it on Facebook. They tell all their friends about all their intimate dealings and everything. And that's very low class. And when Sanatana Goswami, quoting Samohvayan Tantra, when Samohvayan Tantra says, Gopayad Guru Matmana, we should hide our Guru, it doesn't mean that we deny our Guru. What it means is that we don't advertise the relationship that we have with our Guru. So the Guru Giri is not like that. The Guru Giri, his motto, in the language of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, is Amar Guru Jagat Guru. That my Gurudev, he's very, very great, and indirectly saying, your Guru, well, anyway, better luck next time. They're critical of all of the different gurus, and they only see their guru as being great. They're doing some business like that. So they're a Bahirmukh Sishya. The third type of Bahirmukh Sishya is a Vishayi, or the person who wants to enjoy. Now there's two types of Bahirmukh Vishayi Sishyas. There's the Anutap and the Niranutap, or that disciple who is lamenting, oh, this is very, very bad. I'm not a good disciple at all. I'm not following what Gurudev wants. And that disciple, he's actually a sadhu. He's actually a something like a Kanishta Antarmukh Sishya. Krishna says in the Gita that Apichet Sudaracharo Bhajate Mama Nanya Bhak Sadhar Eva Samantavya Samyagi Vyasito Hisa. that this person is a sadhu because he's doing ananyata bhajan. Now, what is that ananyata bhajan? Sometimes in ISKCON we think that ananyata bhajan means that they're a pure devotee, they have no anarthas in the heart, maybe they're on the platform of bhav or prema. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on that verse, he explains that the Vishai sadhu, he's a sadhu because he's not taking shelter of karma, gyan, yoga, or devata puja. He's not worshipping the demigods. He's only taking shelter of Krishna. But his behavior is not good. Therefore, he's a Vishai Sishya. But he's lamenting. And if he's lamenting and he's focused completely on Krishna, then he's an Anutap Vishai Sishya. And there's hope for him. The Niranutap Vishai Sishya is a Badmash. He's a great rascal. He's just putting on a show like the Guru Giri, trying to enjoy being a disciple. Now these three disciples, these three Bahirmukh Sishyas, after the disappearance of Gurudev, they have a great crisis. And they don't want to say it externally, but in their heart they're very, very confused, and they don't see Gurudev because their vision of Gurudev is Bhogya Darshan. They're seeing that Gurudev is there for their enjoyment. They just see Gurudev as a mundane man. That my Gurudev he's from Orissa, my Gurudev, he's from Madhya Pradesh, my Gurudev's from Bengal, my Gurudev's from America, my Gurudev's a tall person, he's a this, he's a that. They just see the external body of Gurudev. And when Gurudev leaves this world, they have a great crisis. Thakur Bhaktivinoda, in one article, he says that they don't want to say it, but they think that Gurudev is dead. And Bhaktivinoda says, your Gurudev is not dead. You're dead. He uses the phrase man morabhav, that you're brain dead. Because you think that your Gurudev is no longer present. I remember I gave a class once in the Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan and spoke something about the relationship between Guru and disciple. And after the class, one of the brahmacharis came to me. And in the class, I was speaking about how we should always be very close with our Gurudev. And so this brahmachari had a question. He said, Prabhu, how can I be close with my Gurudev? My Gurudev spends almost all of his time in America, and I'm here in India. And I told him something a little strong. I said, please don't mind me saying this, but I don't understand why you took initiation from your Guru if you think that he's a mundane person. And this brahmachari, I hurt his feelings a little. He was a little shocked. He said, I don't think my Gurudev is a mundane person. And then I responded to him. I said, well, if you think that mundane distance or mundane time can separate you from your Guru, then it means you think he's a mundane person. That physical distance makes a difference. That there's something mundane which is going to come between me and my Guru. After our Guru Maharaj left this world, we went to speak with one of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj in Mayapur. He was a very learned devotee and someone whom my Guru Maharaj appreciated. And we said, Maharaj, we don't know what to do. Our Guru Maharaj just left this world. What should we do? And Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj looked at us and he told us, don't think that your Gurudev has left. Rather, you should think now he's hiding in the bushes and watching to see what you're going to do. We mentioned this in one of our previous sessions, I think. So don't think that Gurudev is gone. But if someone is anartha yukta vasta, they have anarthas in their heart, and their darshan of Gurudev is bhogya darshan, therefore they're a bahirmukh, an external sishya, then they're going to fall in one of these three categories, the sneha silita, the Guru Giri, or the Vishayi, and they're going to have a great crisis after the disappearance of their Guru. They're going to think, whether they want to admit it externally or not, they're going to think, Gurudev, he's dead. He's gone. And now I have to go to someone else. This is what the Sneha Silita thinks. I need to get affection and attention from someone else. Gurudev always gave attention to me. And they think that's the purpose of Guru. He's a good Guru because he pays lots of attention to me. Whenever he comes, he always asks to see me. He asks how I'm doing and things. He pats me on the head. They're looking for that sneha. And so after the disappearance of Guru, then they go looking for someone else to fill the hole. And they find some other sadhu. After my Guru Maharaj had left, once I was invited to the disappearance festival of Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj here in Jagannath Puri. And I attended the program, and afterwards the Acharya, after Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, he called for me to his room and wanted to speak with me and was asking how things were going after the disappearance of our Guru Maharaj. And I said, well, not so well, Maharaj. And he said, why? Well, what's wrong? I said, well, many of my godbrothers, they left. They went to different sadhus. And this sadhu, he looked at me and he said, why did they do that? And I didn't want to say anything bad about anyone. I said, well, our Guru Maharaj always said that you should do sadhu sangha, so they're doing like that. And then he asked me, did your Guru tell them to go to some other person? And I said, well, no. And he said, then I don't want to offend anyone, but I cannot say what will happen to them. Because if they feel that your Gurudev is Sadguru, then without his permission, if they just go to someone else, that's a great offense. So that's the business, that's the mentality of the Sneha Silita. They're looking for affection, they're looking for attention, and they think that's the purpose of being a disciple of spiritual life, to get that attention, and they'll look for someone else after the disappearance of Guru. Still, the Sneha Silita, I suppose, is better than the Guru Giri. The Guru Giri, after the disappearance of Guru, he makes a business out of Guru, and he wants to advertise himself as Guru, and he says things like, well, I know I'm not qualified. I don't really want to be Guru, but there's nobody to do it. And although I don't really want to do it, still we have to continue the disciplic succession. And he's cheating in that way. He does want to do it, but he's putting on a show, and he's making a business out of his Guru. Because this Guru Giri is also Bahirmukh, external, he has external vision. He's an Artha Yukta Vasta, he has this Bhogya Darshan of Gurudev. He also doesn't see Gurudev's presence. And he doesn't see that Gurudev is present everywhere. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that in one article, he says that I pray that I may see my Gurudev in every person, that I may see my Gurudev in every animal, that I may see my Gurudev in every plant, that I may see him in every rock, in every hill, in every river. I pray that I may see my Gurudev every year, every month, every week, every day, every hour, every second. And he said, if I don't see my Gurudev, then I'll fall prey to the bad desire to become Guru myself. So the Guru Giri doesn't see Gurudev. And this doesn't mean that the disciple shouldn't become Guru, but the disciple never has that abhiman that I'm Guru. He doesn't want to become Guru. The only reason he accepts the service of accepting disciples is on the order of his Guru. And if your Gurudev tells you must accept disciples, then what choice do you have? Once someone spoke to my Guru Maharaj, one of our godbrothers, in a very frank way. They said, Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada authorized, I think it was 11 different devotees to give initiation after his disappearance. And out of those 11 gurus, I think something like 8 or so of them had problems and later on fell down, maybe more. So were they authorized? And were they bona fide? And Guru Maharaj said, yes, Prabhupada authorized them. Prabhupada told them that you should be Guru. He said, but their fault was they should have waited until they were qualified. I like to tell people this is the formula of aqua. Aqua is a Latin word. It's also in Spanish. Aqua means water or pani. So aqua means two things. It means authorization, qualification. Those two things are aqua. That's the water needed to become guru. Even if you have the authorization of your Gurudev, even if Gurudev tells you, I want you to initiate disciples, then a bona fide disciple will say, yes, Guru Maharaj, I can't refuse your instruction. But Gurudev, you please give me the qualification. Because unless I have the qualification, the authorization is not enough. So the Guru Giri is someone who's operating without authorization and or without qualification. And he sees that Gurudev's not present, so I want to become Guru myself. And he does that either in a subtle way or in a gross way. And I'd like to speak more about that mentality in a later session also. Who should be Guru? That's an important question for us. So then there's the Vishayi. The Vishayi also, after the disappearance of Guru, because he has Bhogya Darshan, because he has Anarthas in his heart, he doesn't see Gurudev. And then he thinks, well, Gurudev's not present to watch over me, and now I can do whatever I want. Gurudev told me that I should stay brahmachari, but I see a lot of my godbrothers now, they're getting married, and it would be nice to have a wife. She could cook for me. I'll get a very beautiful girl I can enjoy like anything. And Gurudev's not here to chastise me for it, so I can do that. So that Vishayi Sishya then enters into a life of sense gratification. We should understand the proper mentality of a disciple, that Gurudev is there to serve. We want to serve Gurudev. We don't want to just try to make a show out of worship. Srila Prabhupada, he offered some prayers to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati for one of his Vyas Puja programs. Is a poem that he wrote in Bengali. I'd like to sing this for you. He sang, Tai se tomara agya shabai milaya pracharera karja kora vanite majia Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So he spoke about the mood of the Vyas Puja festival. We touched on a little of this in our last session. That some devotees, these are the Snehasilitas, who are Anartha Yukta Vasa, they have Anarthas in their heart. They want to try to enjoy Gurudev, and they think the Vyas Puja festival is a great program for me to get some nice cake, to hang out with my friends, to have some social life, to be able to talk and become famous in front of everybody, try to impress everybody with my Guru Bhakti, and get some very nice prasadam. It's for my enjoyment. But Srila Prabhupada said no. He said that the function of the Vyas Puja is Tai se tomara agya sabai nilaya. Sabai nilaya. We all come together, Tai se tomara agya, to understand and meditate on the order of Gurudev. Pracharera karyakara vanite majia. And then take that message and give it to the world, because that's real worship of Guru. We're thinking about his pleasure. We're coming together for the Vyas Puja program and not just saying, oh Gurudev, I love you, I'm very fallen, but you're very great, please accept my obeisances, and that's your Vyas Puja offering. No, we think about the Guru's message. We think about his mission. Prabhupada goes on. Nakala korite gele viparita phala Jatadina jabe sabba hoy baby kala Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Nakala korite gele viparita phala. If all that we do is we just do some imitation, we're acting like a disciple, we're trying to impress everybody else, then viparita phala, we're going to get some contradictory result. With the fruit, the benefit's going to be wrong. Jatadina jabe sabba hoy be vikala. As long as this imitation is going on, then hoy be vikala, we're just going to fail. It's not going to work. You may act like a great disciple, but you won't get the fruit that you want to get, that you should get. Ekano ofirya eso prabhur agyai. Shakale milaya maji tanara pujai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ekana ofirya eso prabhur agyai. So my dear brothers, he's saying now, we should all come here. Come here to the order of our Gurudev, not just come to the festival. As Amritesh Gaur Prabhu was saying in the last session, that there's one devotee who wanted to go to Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj's Vyas Puja festival. And the temple president told him, what will you get there? Rather, you serve your Gurudev. So this is what Prabhupada is saying. That we come together not just in the physical place, but we return to the order of Gurudev. And Shakali Nilaya, then in that, when we all meet like that, around the order of Gurudev, Majji Tanhara Puja, that's real puja. That's real worship of our Gurudev. That's a real activity of a Sat Sishya. Fula Fala Mahotsave Puja Nahi Hoy. Banira se baka jay se tapujai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Fula Fala Mahotsave Puja Nahi Hoy. Right? Just getting together a whole bunch of flowers and fruits. That's not puja, that's not real worship, that's not the festival. Vanira sevaka jay sheta pujai. That person who serves the Vani of Gurudev, that person's really worshiping Gurudev. So we should understand different types of disciples. And as Srila Prabhupada is saying, that there's some people who look like disciples, but they're not really disciples. So just using Guru as a means to promote ourselves, that's not pleasing Guru. Rather, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Tate Krishna Bhaje Kore Guru Sevan. That what is our service to Gurudev? Kore Guru Sevan is Tate Krishna Bhaje. We worship Krishna. Not just that we run around and say Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev. This doesn't bring Gurudev pleasure. My Guru Maharaj used to quote Jiva Goswami's Gopal Champu, very nice verse. Nirpo Nahari Sevita Vaya Kritina Haryapaka Kavir Nahari Varnaka Shita Guru Nahyashrita Guni Nahari Tatpada Sarasadirna Krishna Shraya Sana Braja Ramanuga Sahridi Sapta Salyani Me. He says there's 7 different spears in the heart. The first one is the Nirpa, the king, who Nahari Sevita, who doesn't serve Krishna. The second is someone who's a miser. He has money, but he doesn't offer that money to Krishna. The third, Kavir Nahari Varnaka. He's a kavi, he's a poet, but he doesn't write about Krishna. The fourth is someone, Shrita Guru Na Harashrita. He's taking shelter of Gurudev, but not taking shelter of Krishna. That person's like a spear in the heart. The fifth, Guni Nahari Tatpara. He has good qualities, but he's not enthusiastic to do service for Krishna. The sixth person, Sarasadir Na Krishnashraya, he has good buddhi, good intelligence, but not Krishnashraya. He doesn't surrender to Krishna. And the seventh person, Sana Braja Ramanuga Sahridi Sapta Salyani Me. Sana Braja Ramanuga. He surrenders, but he doesn't become a follower of the Braj Gopis. So the fourth category of painful person is Shrita Guru Na Harashrita. Someone who takes shelter of Gurudev, but he doesn't take shelter of Krishna. So that person is just making a show of shelter of Guru. I'm giving classes about Gurudev, I wear Gurudev's t-shirt, I'm making books about Gurudev, I'm doing all this service, I'm a big disciple. but he's not really taking shelter of Guru. Real shelter of Guru means that we follow his instructions and we please him, not just make some public display. So this is something we need to hear. Real worship of Guru is accomplished by worshiping Krishna in the form of Krishna Kirtan and Krishna Katha. That's what's going to please Gurudev. Not that we run around saying Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, and Gurudev says, what are you doing? Chant Hare Krishna. That chanting Hare Krishna is what pleases Gurudev. So there are different types of disciples we should understand. And Gurudev is always looking to see what kind of disciple are you? What kind of motivation do you have? And according to that motivation, you'll get mercy. Radhanath Maharaj, Tukaram Prabhu was mentioning how a few years ago Radhanath Maharaj came to Puri and was doing a program. And one night he finished his katha, and then he came down and he sat down with me. Maybe Chandramali Maharaj was with me. I think it was just maybe myself, maybe one or two other devotees. And he told us a story, just for two or three of us, a very wonderful story. I mentioned previously that or maybe I didn't mention, it's a different class, forgive me, how Ramanujacharya had several different gurus. He got mantras from different persons, different mantras, because generally we only have one Diksha guru, but sometimes you get different mantras from different gurus. So one of Ramanuja's gurus' names was Gostipurna. And Gostipurna was a bit of an angry person. And once Gostipurna came to visit Ramanuja, so when he saw Ramanuja, Ramanuja jumped up and went to offer his Dandavat Pranams, but it was during the summertime. And the sand was red hot. And Ramanuja at that time was only wearing a gamsha. He had no shirt on. And the tradition in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya was that you offer your Dandavats to your Gurudev and you don't get up until he gives you permission. So Ramanuja wasn't wearing a shirt, he's just wearing a gamsha, and he's laying down in the sand, which is red hot. And his skin began to burn. And you could smell some smell coming from the burning skin. And Ramanuja, his disciples were there, and they were all watching this. And they were horrified, oh my God. But they were afraid, if I say something, then it's going to be an offense to Gostipurna. But they're thinking, why doesn't Gostipurna let him stand up? Like, why doesn't he give him permission? You don't, because their system was you don't get up from offering obeisances until Gurudev gives permission. So they wanted to say something. Ramanuja's disciples wanted to say something, but they were afraid. Gostipurna is a very angry person. I may make some offense. I can't say anything. Finally, it became too much. And one of the disciples spoke up. He said, stop it. Let him up. It's not human. He's burning. And then Gostipurna, he allowed Ramanuja to get up. And then he told Ramanuja, he pointed to that devotee who chastised him. And Gostipurna said, you keep this disciple close to you. He's a real disciple. You have him cook for you. He has real guru bhakti. For the sake of his guru, he was ready to commit an offense and go to hell. So, such a Sishya is not thinking about himself, but rather he's thinking always about the pleasure of Gurudev. And he's a real disciple. He's an antarmukh Sishya. And such a disciple, to a greater or lesser extent, he's anartha muktavasta. He's free from anarthas. It doesn't mean that that disciple is a pure devotee. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have desires in his heart, but he's not acting on them. He's living his life in such a way that he can maximize his service to Gurudev. At least he has that intelligence. His face is turned toward Gurudev. He's a Sat Sishya in that sense, even if he may be on a Kanishta level or some lower level. So I want to go ahead and stop there and give a few minutes now for the devotees. If anybody has any reflections, any prize that you're walking away with today, any reflections, any comments or questions or anything, this is a time for that. Or maybe Tukaram Prabhu, you want to add something, I don't know.
Hare Krishna. Well, it went very heavy. we get to know that we are not, at least I am not Guru Sevi, rather Guru Bhogi. Very, so we have to meditate upon the point that you have said. Actually, it's very difficult because Antarmukha and Bahirmukh. So, unless we would have heard this class, so I was thinking I was Antarmukha, but today you told. so it's always
I'm speaking about myself. That's why.
Roji, what is this word that you said? I just the word was. Where is it? I just skipped it. I just missed it somewhere. Just a minute. Antarmoher Bahirmukh Sneha Silita. Is it
Silita?
Silita?
Yeah. That's the word Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses in one article. Silita. I'll paste it in our little chat here. You can see in English transliteration. Silita means that someone is practicing or cultivating. And they think that that's what it means to be disciple, to try to cultivate some affection from Gurudev, to get some attention from Gurudev. But they're not, as you said, Guru Sevi. They're not thinking that I should serve Gurudev. And that service to Gurudev is my everything.
And you told Prabhuji about Madhyam. So Madhyam, Antarmukha Madhyam disciple. So he knows Shastra, but he does not know heart of Guru. It's not very good. And one who is on Uttam platform, so that means his heart, Guru is sitting in his heart and he's performing Vishrambhena Guru Seva. That means he has dovetailed his heart with his Guru's instruction, Guru's mood. So he may quote or he may not quote Shastra, but actually whatever he's doing, his all actions are there just to please Guru.
Yeah, and Guru has entered into his heart. So he knows he's become a manifestation of Guru. And that's a whole other subject matter that we may speak about some other point. How Guru enters the heart of the disciple. And to what extent Guru enters the heart of the disciple.
So I was about to ask this point, that like, how to come to that platform. How gradually one will elevate to that platform. So you'll be covering it some.
Yeah, I would like to speak. By chanting the holy name. By pleasing Gurudev, especially by chanting the holy name, that'll please him. Just by making a show, as Srila Prabhupada said, of worshipping Guru, or as Jiva Goswami says in Gopal Champu, that's not really pleasing to Guru. Just like, we all may have experienced, the devotees here, you going out for book distribution sometimes. You may go out and someone may say, "Oh, you're a sadhu, it's so nice here, Maharaj, let me give you a laddu, let me give you some money or something." And okay, that's kind of nice. They're flattering you, but that's all right. But you're really pleased, not by that. You're really pleased if they say, "What can I do?" And you tell them, "Oh, chant Hare Krishna." And they say, "Okay, what's the mantra?" And you tell them, and they start chanting. You feel so ecstatic at that time. So similarly, Gurudev, if we just go to him, we want a laddu, we want some attention or something. That's okay. And Gurudev, he's pleased. He's a simple person. He wants something from me, but his motivation is not good. And when he sees that they want to chant the holy name, then Gurudev becomes very, very pleased. And therefore, Tate Krishna Guru, Tate Krishna Bhaji Guru, Tate Krishna Bhaji Kori Guru Sevan. That our Guru Seva means worshipping Krishna. That's how we're going to please Gurudev. It's a very, very deep principle. I know one devotee who, for Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day, he put 6-foot-high photos of his Guru Maharaj all over all the walls in his place. And in the kirtan, he started chanting his Guru Maharaj's name for like half an hour. And he said that this is how I'm going to please Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And when I heard about that, my comment was, that might please Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is such a humble person, and your Guru Maharaj is so great that Bhaktivinoda might appreciate that. But I have serious doubts that your Gurudev will appreciate that. Rather, I think your Gurudev will become very angry. Could you imagine? For Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day, you put 6-foot-high photos of your Guru Maharaj all over the walls, and you just start chanting Jai Bhakti Charu Maharaj Jai, and your Gurudev comes in and says, yes, Gurudev, this is a nice festival for Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Are you pleased, Gurudev? What will he do? He'll beat you, isn't it? So that's not pleasing the Guru.
Prabhuji, you told that Eklavya wanted to become greater than the Vaishnavas.
Yes.
That was his fault. Can you little bit elaborate, like, because that tendency is there in a conditioned soul to become greater than others, to get some name, fame, adoration. So that is very natural. And because when we were in material life, so that is being taught how to become great, how to become famous. And then when we come to Krishna consciousness, we bring those impressions.
Right.
So this is a kind of offensive.
Yeah, see, we see that Ekalavya, he knew about Krishna, and he was worshipping Dronacharya. He was worshipping a bona fide guru, but his desire was to become the greatest. Now, as you said, and Bhaktisiddhanta says this, that some people may say, what's wrong with that? We should push ourselves, we should become the best in whatever we do. But that's not the mood of the Vaishnavas. The mood of the Vaishnavas is Trinadapi Sunichena, and they worship the other Vaishnavas. We should never want to become greater than the Vaishnavas. We should never want to push ourselves forward. If Krishna pushes us forward, if the Vaishnavas want us to do something, if Gurudev tells us, I want you to give initiations, I want you to do this service, then we do that thing. My Guru Maharaj once told us, he said that Prabhupada told him, I want you to accept disciples. And Guru Maharaj said, Prabhupada, I don't want to be the head, I want to be the tail. And he didn't want that. And Prabhupada told him, no, I want. And so Guru Maharaj accepted. And Guru Maharaj accepted very strongly, even as I mentioned maybe in one of our previous sessions, how every day in Bhubaneswar, the devotees were offering sometimes maybe 20 different malas, garlands to Guru Maharaj in the class. So many malas every day. And there was one Mataji she asked Gurudev what service she could do. And Guru Maharaj told her, you make a garland every day. So you may say, it's not a very big service, it's just a garland. And there's so many other people offering garlands. Guru Maharaj couldn't even wear all of them. They would cover his face. He was taking them off and putting them next to him on the Vyasa-san. So one day, the Mataji was sick, and she couldn't do her service. She didn't make the garland, and she didn't come. And the next day, when Guru Maharaj saw her, he chastised her. Where is the garland? You're supposed to make the garland. Now, someone may say, this is very mundane. Maharaj just wants some fame. He just wants some worship from this Mataji. Don't think like that. He doesn't want that position, but he accepted that service because Srila Prabhupada gave it to him. And so accepting that service means, being guru, means he has to demand service from the disciples. And even though that wasn't externally a very big service and wasn't very important, and who would even notice that particular garland wasn't made, he noticed because he wanted that service from her. So it's a very, very subtle, very deep thing. And if we, as Guru Maharaj would often say, you've all heard this, that if you go to the ocean and you only stay near the surface, you'll just collect fish. But if you want to collect valuable gems, you have to dive very deep. So in Krishna consciousness, if we're a shallow person, we just want to be comfortable, then our conception will be very shallow, and we will just collect some fish, some external thing. But if we go deep, and we contemplate very deeply, we're antarmukh shishas, we're persons facing internally, then we can collect very valuable things. Okay? Okay, anybody else with any reflections or comments or anything? Anything you're walking away with? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and stop. Okay? Nobody raising their hand or anything? So, Tukaram Prabhu, tomorrow night we have Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj, correct? just to remind everybody.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So I hope everybody takes part in that. Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj is a very, very amazing speaker, a very, very powerful spiritual personality. One thing I liked about him very much, he's oftentimes spoken about how his favorite book is Embankment of Separation, and he likes Gopalji publications so much. And he doesn't just say that, but he's actually reading them and thinking about them and speaking in a very, very deep way about things like Sabda Brahma and how it's not enough just to read a book, but you have to hear from a person, and speaking in a very deep way from different Upanishads and Sanskrit commentaries. He's a Sanskrit scholar also, and very, very deep, wonderful Vaishnava. So I hope everybody takes part in that. And I want to thank everybody very much. Thank you, Tukaram Prabhu, for having us today. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samabeda Bhaktivinoda ki, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol, Vansha Kalpatarubhishcha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा। सुनिए सब लोग, आवाज आ रही है?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु।
तुम लोग
हरे
कुछ
कृष्ण
बोलते
प्रभु।
क्यों नहीं हो? रिकॉर्डिंग बंद करो, रिकॉर्डिंग बंद करो।